Imagine having to flee your home because your country is in collapse, at war, or for our American friends, a civil war just broke out. You might have to leave everything behind, including your money. But what if there was something you could bring with you? Something that would always hold its value no matter where you go. Something that could potentially save your family's lives. In our ever-changing world, gold has always been a reliable way to protect your wealth, but has also served as a lifeline for refugees. After the Vietnam War, one of the best historical examples of gold acting as an insurance policy occurred. The newly formed regime took control of the country, resulting in harsh economic conditions and a drop in the value of the Vietnamese currency, the dong. Many Vietnamese were forced to leave their homes, and millions were expelled or imprisoned. In the midst of this chaos, gold became the ultimate survival insurance policy. Vietnamese people who had a long history of saving physical gold turned to it for survival during these times of inflation and economic difficulty. They had to convert their dong into gold due to the currency's depreciation. Many people kept their wealth in the form of 24-karat Kim Tong gold bars, which were used throughout Southeast Asia as a store of value and a medium of exchange. As people attempted to flee the country, gold became the preferred currency for payment. Vietnamese citizens in desperate need of escape had to pay for official passage on boats. The communist government profited from the mass exodus, turning it into a lucrative source of revenue. Those who couldn't afford the official passage had no choice but to leave illegally by bribing the boat owners directly. The boat owners demanded gold instead of cash because Vietnamese currency had no value outside of Vietnam. These people were confronted with significant risks and uncertainty, making gold their literal lifeline. Because they didn't know how long their journey would take or if they would even survive, gold allowed them to bribe officials, hire boats, and negotiate entry into foreign lands. However, their reliance on gold put them in danger. Pirates of the sea posed a constant threat, knowing that both the refugees and the crew were carrying gold. Despite these risks, gold provided a ray of hope to those in need. 1.6 million Vietnamese were resettled between 1975 and 1977, with many using gold to pay for official or unofficial passage, transport wealth, or fund their new lives. This historical example is a powerful reminder of gold's role as a lifeline in insurance policy in times of crisis. You should watch this excellent mini-documentary and read the comments. It's packed with knowledge. And if you want to learn more about how gold is a good insurance policy and how to protect your gold, I have actually written an ebook in which I share all the strategies I learned from my Lebanese experience. This ebook is available for free to all of my Buy Me Coffee, YouTube, and Patreon members. Gold's role in the Vietnam War and its aftermath is just one example of its importance during difficult times. Throughout history, gold has played an important role as a lifeline in numerous situations. One of the most recent examples comes from Syrians fleeing the civil war in Syria to Europe. The ongoing Syrian civil war has resulted in massive population displacement, with millions of Syrians fleeing to neighboring countries and beyond. During their risky journeys, many of these refugees faced significant difficulties. For some of these refugees, their flee was facilitated by their gold ownership. For those who are unaware, gold, particularly gold jewels, plays an important cultural role in the Middle East and more broadly in Arabic and Mediterranean cultures. Gold jewelry is commonly given as a gift on social occasions such as wedding, engagement, and newborn baby receptions. When people have some spare cash, they tend to spend it on gold jewelry rather than stocks such as Westerners. You can see this behavior if you look at Syrian or Egyptian shows, or just girls on Instagram, where women would wear a lot and much larger bracelet like this ones, making all of these gold sounds. Fun fact: culturally, Syrians have a strong preference for 21-karat gold. With the influx of Syrians in Europe and Turkey, Syrian goldsmiths are now selling these 21-karat gold jewels there, and some locals actually go to these new Syrian goldsmiths now. Gold was critical in assisting some Syrian refugees and providing for their families during the Syrian crisis. As I have previously stated in other videos, gold is easier to transport and conceal than large sums of money, making it a more practical option for refugees fleeing their homes, such as for securing passage across borders. As some Syrians arrived in Europe with their gold, the reactions of the receiving countries demonstrated how important gold was. Some European countries passed laws to seize assets, including gold, from the refugees entering their borders. These laws were implemented to help cover the costs of relocating and integrating refugees into their new host countries. For example, Denmark passed a controversial law in 2016 that allowed authorities to seize valuables, including gold, from the refugees in order to pay for their housing and other expenses. Similarly, Switzerland and Germany enacted policies that allowed authorities to seize assets, including gold, from asylum seekers in certain circumstances. It should be noted that these laws did not appear to be enforced. Actually, these laws were suspended in Denmark for Ukrainian refugees. Apparently, it's more acceptable to steal the gold of brown refugees than white refugees. Who would have guessed? Now, in the case of Lebanon, gold is currently acting as a lifeline. There hasn't been a war yet, but the Lebanese people have been hit by a bank freeze which has caused them to lose most, if not all, of their dollars in the bank. The local currency, the Lebanese pound, has devalued by more than 99%, becoming toilet paper, and there has been massive hyperinflation. A large part of Lebanese people is now able to survive because of community support, international remittance, and international aid. And you hear countless stories of people who, because they lack access to any of these resources, are forced to sell their jewelry in order to survive. People who own gold in Lebanon have gained purchasing power, but gold does not automatically gain purchasing power during times of hyperinflation. It actually only happens in very specific cases, such as Lebanon right now, but it was not the case in Brazil or Venezuela. If you want to know when your gold will actually gain purchasing power during hyperinflation, watch this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment. You can support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee, and we stay in touch on Twitter and Instagram. A special thanks to my Patreon and YouTube super thankers. You are the MVPs that help me to continue to do these free videos.